Hi everyone, I'm Raven. I'm here again to tell you some gripping stories. Today I have a particularly chilling tale to share with you. It's the story of a young girl named Michelle Martinko, whose life was tragically cut short one December night in 1979. This case remained unsolved for nearly 40 years, but thanks to advances in DNA technology, justice was finally served. Let's dive into the details. Who was Michelle Martinko? Michelle Marie Martinko was born on October 16, 1961, in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. She grew up in a loving family and attended Kennedy High School, where she was known for her beauty, grace, and vibrant personality. Michelle was an active member of her school's choir and had a passion for the performing arts. She was well liked by her peers and had dreams of pursuing a career in fashion design after high school. The night of the murder. On the night of December 19, 1979, Michelle planned to visit Westdale Mall in Cedar Rapids. She told her parents she wanted to buy a new winter coat and perhaps meet up with some friends. Leaving her home around 7:30 p.m., she promised to be back by 10 p.m. But Michelle never made it home that night. When she didn't return, her family grew increasingly worried. By the early hours of December 20th, they reported her missing to the police. The search led authorities to the Westdale Mall parking lot, where they found Michelle's car, a 1972 white Buick Electra, parked in a remote corner of the lot. What the police discovered inside the car was horrifying. Michelle was found slumped over in the front seat, her body covered in blood. She had been stabbed 29 times in the face and chest. The autopsy later revealed that the wounds to her face and neck had been fatal. The investigation. Michelle's murder stunned the Cedar Rapids community. The police launched an extensive investigation, interviewing hundreds of people, including Michelle's classmates, ex-boyfriends, and mall employees. But despite their efforts, the case quickly went cold. There were no signs of a struggle, no sexual assault, and no obvious motive. Michelle's purse and personal belongings were still in the car, ruling out robbery. The case haunted the community and the Martinko family for decades. For years, the investigation yielded no significant leads, and it seemed as though Michelle's killer would never be brought to justice. DNA technology breakthrough. In 2006, there was a glimmer of hope. Investigators were able to extract a DNA profile from the blood found at the crime scene. However, when they ran it through national databases, there was no match. The case remained cold, leaving Michelle's family and the community frustrated and heartbroken. But everything changed in 2018, when advancements in genetic genealogy, a technique that uses DNA to trace familial relationships, came into play. Investigators used this method to trace the DNA to its source, leading them to a man named Jerry Lynn Burns, who lived in Iowa and had no prior criminal record. Burns had lived an ordinary life, seemingly blending into the background. But the DNA evidence told a different story. Police began to covertly monitor him, eventually collecting a DNA sample from a soda can he discarded. This sample matched the DNA from the crime scene. The arrest and trial. On December 19, 2018, exactly 39 years to the day after Michelle was murdered, Jerry Lynn Burns was arrested. He denied any involvement in the crime, but the evidence against him was overwhelming. Not only did the DNA match, but Burns had also made several suspicious comments over the years that hinted at knowledge of the crime that only the killer would have. During the trial in 2020, the prosecution presented a strong case, arguing that Burns had encountered Michelle at the mall that night and attacked her in a fit of rage. The defense tried to argue that the DNA evidence was not enough to convict Burns, but the jury was not convinced. Burns was found guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The legacy of Michelle Martinko. The resolution of Michelle Martinko's case brought a sense of closure to her family and the Cedar Rapids community, who had waited decades for justice. In her memory, a scholarship fund was established at Kennedy High School to support students with a passion for fashion design, just like Michelle. Michelle's story is a haunting reminder of how one night can change everything. Her murder, once a cold case, was solved thanks to the relentless efforts of law enforcement and the power of modern science. And while nothing can bring Michelle back, Knowing that her killer was finally brought to justice brings a small measure of peace to those who loved her. 35 years later, the second murder case solved. The story is about a case that remained unsolved for an astonishing 35 years. It's the tragic tale of Fawn Marie, a young girl whose disappearance and murder would only be solved decades later. Let's dive into the details of this haunting case and how justice was eventually served. Who was Fawn Marie? Fawn Marie was born in 1982 in a small American town. From a young age, she was known for her vibrant personality and kindness. Fawn was a dedicated student with a love for learning and a passion for her future aspirations. She was involved in various school activities and had a close-knit circle of friends. Her family described her as bright and full of promise, with dreams of a successful career ahead. The disappearance. On a cold winter day in December 1997, Fawn Marie vanished without a trace. She had left her home in the morning, expecting to return later that day. When she failed to come back, her family's anxiety turned into desperation. They immediately reported her missing to the local authorities, who launched an extensive search. Police scoured the town, interviewing Fawn's friends, family, and acquaintances. They searched her school, her neighborhood, and even areas where she was known to spend time. Despite their relentless efforts, no substantial leads emerged. The investigation soon went cold, and Fawn's family was left in a state of grief and uncertainty. The cold case. Years went by, and the case of Fawn Marie's disappearance faded into the background. However, in the early 2020s, advancements in forensic technology and renewed interest in cold cases brought new hope. Authorities decided to revisit the case with modern investigative techniques. Detectives re-examined old evidence, including phone records, social media activity, and forensic samples from the time of Fawn's disappearance. This fresh scrutiny revealed new leads and suspicious behavior from individuals who had been in Fawn's life before her disappearance. The investigation uncovered connections and patterns that had previously gone unnoticed. The breakthrough. In 2021, a major breakthrough occurred. Using advanced forensic technology, investigators identified a suspect who had connections to Fawn Marie's case. The suspect, who had previously been a peripheral figure in the investigation, became the focal point of the renewed inquiry. Police arrested the suspect, and through rigorous interrogation and forensic analysis, they were able to piece together the events leading up to Fawn's disappearance. The suspect eventually confessed to abducting and murdering Fawn Marie. This confession, along with the forensic evidence, led to the resolution of the case. The trial and justice. The trial of Fawn Marie's killer was a significant moment for her family and the community. The courtroom was filled with emotion as the details of the crime were presented. The evidence against the suspect was overwhelming, and the confession provided crucial clarity on what had happened to Fawn. In 2021, the court found the suspect guilty of first-degree murder. The sentencing was a bittersweet moment, offering some measure of justice for Fawn Marie and her loved ones. The long-awaited resolution of the case brought closure to a chapter that had remained open for decades. Honoring Fawn Marie. In the wake of the trial, Fawn Marie's family and community found solace in the fact that justice had been served. To honor Fawn's memory, her family established a foundation dedicated to raising awareness about missing persons and supporting families affected by similar tragedies. The foundation also focuses on leveraging modern technology to assist in solving cold cases. Fawn Marie's story is a poignant reminder of the enduring pursuit of justice. It demonstrates that even after many years, the quest for truth can lead to resolution. Her case underscores the importance of perseverance, the impact of technological advancements, and the hope that justice can be achieved no matter how long it takes. And here it is. This story demonstrates how justice can be achieved over time and that the truth always has a way of coming to light. Fawn Marie's tragic story reminds us of the importance of holding on to hope and never giving up on seeking justice. Every cold case can be solved eventually, and justice can be served for every missing person. Fawn's family and community found peace after a long and challenging battle. This shows that justice is an ideal worth pursuing, and sometimes, even after many years, the truth can emerge. I hope this story reminds you of the importance of never losing hope and continuing the fight. The pursuit of justice is a part of doing what is right. Even in the shadows of the past, remember that light and truth can still be found. If this story inspired you, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Until our next video, take care and stay safe.